What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Bismo Show. I am your host, Bismo, and tonight we are joined by a very special guest, Dan. He's back from Stay on Target. How's it going?
It's going great, Bismo. So happy to be back.
Oh, just very glad you're able to join me, especially after the episode we just got, because definitely want to spend some time to dissect it and just give our takes, theories, what we liked, what we liked.
What we liked, what we loved, all of it, man.
What was great, yeah. No. Oh, for sure. And so yeah, for those of you that are new here, just checking out, Dan's been on before. Same with his brother Dustin. They run their own channel, Stay on Target, and during Ahsoka, they've got 2 streams a week right now. So you guys do a pre-show on Tuesday, right? And then your normal Wednesday stream time.
That's right. Yeah, we've been doing we had it set up to be the day before, and then they changed the release time of Ahsoka to the actual Tuesday night. So thankfully it still worked out. We get an hour stream in literally an hour before the stream or the show drops. And then we do our full Wednesday review the next day. So Tuesday night at 8 o'clock and Wednesday night at 8 o'clock, we're live talking Ahsoka before and after. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, their show is definitely a ton of fun. I gotta say, Nick in this most recent episode was bringing the dark side out in me a little bit.
Oh, the dark side. Yes. Yeah, it was dark, man. I'm just one of 4 or 5 people on the show, and so I have 1/5 of the opinions, but I stand strong in my opinions. But sometimes the other guys do too, so it makes for good debate.
Yeah, no, it makes it good. But when I'm engaging like that, when I'm swinging in the comments, I'm engaged. Yes. I'm really listening. But
you didn't have a choice last night. You had to say your piece. Wow.
No, I like because I had a scrimmage for Rocket League, and I hop in the stream, and I think I hopped in right in the moment where Nick was like, and he just looked so bad, and I'm like. I was like pumped to get in. I'm like, woo! Like,
yeah. And it's like downer, man. We're in heavy.
Oh, come on.
I hear you, dude. I know. We were like, let's move along here to the good stuff. But
move along.
We give everybody their chance to say what they want to say, and have their opinions, and they are what they are. It's just funny because it's a running thing with Nick, particularly in that situation.
Yeah,
he always gripes about that kind of thing, but it's funny for us.
Yeah. Say hi to some of the early lurkers in the chat. We got Icy Stormy modding for us. Same with Dustin. What's up, Dustin? Yeah, we got the Anakin on here. Coffee on Corbin. Welcome to the channel. I checked out. You got some nice vids yourself, my friend. Carla Hawkins, what's up? And Jello, which I believe is Nate Kirk. Welcome everyone, and those of you listening on the VOD, those of you listening on Spotify, I need to get back up to date with that. A couple other announcements. You can email the show for specifically collaborations, but also suggestions, show topics, wherever else you want to send in. The email is thebismoshow@gmail.com, I believe, or check the description on that, but I'm pretty sure it's thebismoshow@gmail.com. It's either that or just Bismo Show. Anyhow, if you haven't already, drop a like on the stream. If you're watching the VOD, watching live, it really helps out. We've got a poll currently going on because one of the main discussions, and we'll get deeper into it because first we want to get into this crazy episode 4 mid-season finale that Dave Filoni cooked for us. But the poll we got going on is this the real / good Anakin? And I put a couple options in there, and I want to hear what you guys kind of have to say. And this stream might be a little more chat interactive because I want to hear some of your guys' predictions, especially for next week's episode. Well, I think we're ready to hop in.
Ready to hop in, ready to dive in.
I think we are. So the episode starts right off where we left off in the forest on Cetos, right? We're on the forest.
Yes.
They're trying to fix up the ship.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest.
Semi crash landed, but it wasn't like a crash landing. It was just a controlled descent landing,
Yeah, control. They're still dealing with some damages from the turbo cannon from their turbo lasers from the previous or whatever.
Yeah.
And we know the droids are after them, and Hu Yang's out there working on the ship when he gets ambushed by droids, which I was a little surprised that they didn't hear the loud banging of the metal on, like Ahsoka
Oh,
and
during the
Sabine.
fight.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. And he had to pull out a wire to get their attention. But
I know. It was. Then he said at the end, he's like, "That's going to set me back." I wasn't sure if he was talking about the work that he was doing to the ship. He was talking about himself. He was talking about all of the above because he just fixed that up and he had to smash it or whatever. I was like, "Oh man, all this hard work." But I guess the installation's really good on the ship. They don't hear banging. I mean, they got
yeah,
shot by turbo lasers and they hardly felt it.
yeah, for sure. I wish I could say the same for just sleeping in any kind of apartment. No,
Paper thin, man. And in that galaxy, that stuff is thick.
well, I guess in a world where they can travel between galaxies,
Yeah.
insulated walls maybe aren't the biggest. I think there might be a bit past that. Stay on targets in the chat, so you guys can easily click on their name to go hit them with a sub. Go check out their videos, streams. What's up, I Will One? The Rise of Sky Guy, but is it Sky Guy? Is it Sky Guy we know and love? So after the dispatch of the droids pretty quickly, Shin and Marok are like pretty much right on them, right?
Yeah,
from what I remember.
Yeah, they pretty much showed up pretty well. But they were kind of like leaving the ship. They had talked a little bit, right? And then they were like, "All right, we're going out." Hu Yang was like, "You guys need to stay together." I think that's when he said it. And they're like, "Okay, Hu Yang, we will disobey your orders in the next 5 minutes."
It might have been quicker. It might have been quicker. Yeah. So yeah. Do we just follow the same? Yeah. Do we just follow the same storyline? Because I'm blanking only a little bit just because I remember so much from the later half from ultra focusing. That's why it's important to rewatch, and definitely will be rewatching. But they just follow in the fight in the forest, right?
Yeah, they both take off toward the spot where they know Balin is or whatever they said. It's only a couple of clicks away or whatever. But yeah, they take off into the woods and right away they're met by Shin and Marok. And we were saying the same thing about when they arrived at a hyperspace. Like they just arrived to the Eye of Sion, and then boom, Shin and Marok are right there. And then they start running in the woods for 5 minutes. It's like boom, Shin and Marok are right there. But I guess that's their job, right? They're hunters. He's an inquisitor, and she's a whatever she is, Jedi, dark Jedi, whatever, fallen. Maybe.
So, it seems like Shin and Marok's goal is just to buy time, really, so that the hyperspace routes can be calculated via Night Sister Morgan's magic and to send up to the Eye of Sion. As we were saying, though, as soon as Sabine engages with Shin, they no longer together. Ahsoka takes a look and it's gone.
Yeah, right. Sabine starts shooting and they start running, far away. So we thought, but I did like they fought tandemly. That's why Hu Yang said that when they fought the droids, because Elsbeth said they won't slow them down for long, the droids. Mm-hmm. And so sure enough, they didn't. It was awesome. It was a great fight. She was, using the Force to pull them over and run them through. It was a really cool seeing the Mando, two guns and all that good stuff. So we thought we were going to get more of that since Marok and Shin showed up, but nah, I'll take this one. It was man on man. It was whatever.
Yeah, and I guess what'd you think of those two fights there?
Oof, super good, actually. Yeah, I really enjoyed those fights. The setting was fine. I really liked the way they used the terrain as Sabine and Shin, especially, where you can tell they're just physical specimens. Like they know how to fight, and it was fun to watch. The choreography was really, really good, in my opinion. I thought Shin, especially, and Sabine, some of that was the best dueling I've seen in a long time. And of course,
the trail, we get the "you have no power" scene, and we see what ends up happening there. Super powerful there. Lots
and then it's funny, obviously, the part where Marok gets run through, that shot is in the trailer. One of the trailers.
Where he's in, we see
he's in the background.
But nobody was able to zoom in.
Yeah. We didn't know that was the part where basically, he just had died, so to speak.
He blew away into dust.
I was shocked.
Yeah, what was your thoughts on the whole Marok death? And I guess his reveal too.
I kind of was I could have gone both ways, right? After editing videos and working with Dustin on Stay on Target, theorizing some of the possibilities, Ezra, Barris. I didn't mind Starkiller. Actually, I was kind of in the Starkiller camp after Dustin convinced me. And I think that'd be pretty cool. We know Whitwer's there. We know this. It would make sense. Apprentice, but it didn't have to be. Like I wasn't as dead set because I'd never played Force Unleashed or anything, so I wasn't like emotionally connected to that character other than what I had learned. So when it was Dust, I was kind of a shock. Actually, I was like, okay, he's just it just actually started more questions for me.
Yeah, yeah. So my interpretation from this is it appears he's got this green dust hue magic that comes out of him, and we see this kind of in the Clone Wars with Savage Opress with Night Sister magic. So what I'm guessing here, and this is actually a topic brought up, somebody sent this question in, I believe, Helios, a bizbro, an actual bizbro member, which you can support the channel by becoming a bizbro. Shameless plug. Okay, but he had said, was it the eighth brother that was resurrected by by Morgan Elsbeth with magic, and that maybe that was his identity per se, but regardless, though, I mean, from the get-go, I kind of was more so like, I don't think he's gonna be anyone important, and I think I called the episode death a while ago. But I'm gonna be honest, I didn't. I was as it was going on, I was like, oh, it really could be. Maybe it could be Starkiller per se, but. I think what kind of kept me back though is because there's so many different elements of the show already going on that I feel it could be hard to introduce another big character like that. And I personally kind of wanted Marok to die or somebody to die in this mid-season to add more weight to the story. And I personally feel it achieved that. And being completely honest, when I watched him his dust go away, I chuckled a little bit though.
You kind of laughed, huh?
I laughed a little bit.
Just because of, there were some people out there that were not laughing. Or were you laughing at their pain?
Well, no. I wasn't laughing at their pain. Sorry,
but I know what you mean. It was just kind of like,
it's just, I thought he wouldn't be super. Yeah, kind of. I thought he wouldn't be super powerful, and I thought that Ahsoka would kill him, and this is a good just example to show how powerful Ahsoka is, even though ultimately she lose in this episode. Later on, we get another instance showing her true strength, which I do appreciate that kind of stuff, making quick work of him. And it seemed like Shin was like, you will pay. Like she was pretty upset that Marok was taken out, though. So even though he was a resurrected brother, or whatever, a bit of emotional attachment, I guess. Somebody in the chat, just the 4T said, do you think there's a significance between of Sabine leaving her helmet behind? So that's right, Sabine leaves her helmet in this fight, and it's just kind of chilling there in the woods.
They made a point to show it. Just kind of laying there. I think it does have some significance. It maybe, I don't know if it holds some data. Does it hold some info when she cracked the code for the map?
I'm sorry, I read Dustin's message.
Dustin's helmet. You know what I mean? I said that, maybe Sabine's helmet has data from when she cracked the code map. Maybe that's the link.
That could be.
I don't know. Somebody was saying like, what was it? Indiana Jones when he got his hand burned and like the thing was singed on his hand.
His
maybe
hand?
when Ahsoka grabbed it, like the markings are. No, I'm kidding.
Maybe though, but. The thing is, we see a clip of Hera on the planet Cetos, and we don't see this at all during the episode, right? So I'm thinking, and some people may have said this already, but like maybe Hera goes to retrieve it. I was thinking, what if like Jason somehow uses the Force to like sense kind of like that Force echo to find her helmet? I don't know what the significance could be. It could have a greater meaning, like what you're saying. But I would think if they made a point to show it, her helmet's not going to just be there forever. But
right. Well, we want her to get her helmet back too,
Yeah, for sure.
Good question.
Welcome to the stream, Sonia. Welcome back. Little Mermaid, a live action remake on Disney Plus. Enjoy. Yeah, so
I
the
just,
fight
I
kind
just
of
watched it actually. Yeah,
you just watched that? Yeah.
just
What'd you
watched it.
think?
Actually, I thought it was pretty good. It was worth watching. So
Okay. Okay.
check it out.
Notable. Noted. Um, um so I guess from those fights,
Yeah.
uh
Then they, well,
what
she
really has
kind of
happened?
got
Did Shin
away.
retreat or
Well, that's one of those moments where Ahsoka finished off Marok really quickly, and we're like,
Mhm.
okay, is he the, okay, it's just dust. And
Yeah.
then she looked over because Shin looked over all angrily. We say Shin Rock, like they're a thing. We think they're a thing now.
Yeah.
Shin and Marok. But anyway, they looked over and they kind of paused, and then that was when Sabine was like, "I got this," to Ahsoka. But that was the moment, in my opinion, where I was like, okay, Ahsoka, you need to come over and work together to beat Shin, or at least beat Shin back, you know,
Mhm.
pressure them together. But that's where they separated again, right? And so Ahsoka went on to Balin. Shin kept fighting Sabine and
Yep.
basically
Yep.
defeated Sabine. That's where she lost the helmet, I think. And then her saber got knocked away, and then she tried the force push, right? And that's where
Yeah.
she had that like gun up her
The
sleeve.
Mando gauntlet.
Yeah,
Um
yeah, the
use
gauntlet.
yeah.
And she got that from, I saw somebody in a comment earlier. She got that
Uh
from Rao, right?
yeah, Fenrir. Yep, that's yep. It was
So
actually in the Trials of the Dark Saber episode too.
that's right.
And Kanan was like, "You
Yeah,
don't need these trinkets."
yeah. And sure enough, it saved her life. And it was a really cool callback and a really cool moment. Actually, I didn't see it coming. Obviously, the force push, I didn't quite see coming either. But it
Mhm.
wasn't much of a push. But it was a force push. It was a force sensitive moment.
Yeah. I think Sabine, yeah, certainly force sensitive, and I think being that she escaped that fight um, better than where she had left, it was a
Yeah,
testament just to some kind of ability with the force enhancing and just her dueling ability to somewhat or just enhance her senses to make sure she's not uh, anything happen. Dustin asks, will Sabine need to bathe in the living waters of Mandalore since she lost her helmet? It's a good question, but
I don't think so.
no, he's kidding. He's kidding. That's
Dustin
no
just wants
offense.
Sabine to go down and the mythosaur he wants her to ride the mythosaur. I don't know.
Yeah. Ooh, I've got some Mando-esque discussion for something later that happens in the later part of the episode. But let's continue. So
Yeah.
the Balin fight, Balin and Ahsoka. I really like this fight personally, and some people were like, they don't like Balin's movements or whatever. I think it is perfect for his character, and I had read about um what he was going to be like a while back a little bit. They described him kind of like as a barbarian like fighting style where he's you could really feel the
Yep.
weight of his swings. That's more of his kind of technique really. um
Yep.
and the choice of Ahsoka using one saber, I don't mind it per se, but it is a little questionable. But I think she was using form 5. Like I think she changed her style to better interact with the style Balin was using, I guess.
Yeah.
I feel like
That
if
was
she was
interesting.
using
Yeah.
two sabers at once, sure, she might have more movement, but think of a hard strike that could
Yeah.
easily knock them out. Like she'd need almost two hands to some extent, I think. That's my guess,
Right.
interpretation.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great interpretation. It was like semi Vader esque the way he was just powering through. And he's such a big physical force too. I mean, he's got this big shoulders and he's just a big dude. So very similar to, like I said, reminiscent of Vader. And so I think that form that she took on was cool, as opposed to when she fought Marok, and she was more of like Obi-Wan, wasn't it? It was very similar. It reminded me of Obi-Wan versus
Yeah,
Paul
yeah.
on
Yeah,
Tatooine. There it was,
more Sorsu, the defensive, waiting for the right moment to strike, and doesn't you know maybe it doesn't take being flashy
yeah,
or doing too much to have results. At the end of the day, a win's a win.
yeah. When Balin's on screen, I mean, because Ahsoka made the first move, by the way, with the saber, because of course Balin is defending at
Mhm.
first. He was just, they were
Yeah,
kind of
she
circling
flings
the
at him, right?
map. Yeah. Yeah, she kind of flings at him a little bit, and he defends, and but at first there's just this long tension, just building tension. The dialogue,
Yeah,
anytime
yeah.
Balin's on screen, his dialogue is just phenomenal. The delivery is unbelievable. And
It was
so
so
I love that.
great, and it almost makes you like kind of side with Balin a little bit too. Like, I mean, like he's stalling for time. He's saying some questionable things, but like he's not being totally unreasonable. This isn't a Sith talking. This is a dark Jedi, fallen Jedi that
Right.
thinks more with. He certainly thinks with reason, thinks about himself, but thinks with reason though to kind of get what he wants, which I guess similar to a Sith, but not
Yeah.
not the same. Not the same.
Right. And he's so believable. Like you like you said, he knows what he's doing and why he's doing it. And
For sure.
nothing's going to get in his way. So he's not questioning at this point, anything that he's doing other than he admitted to not wanting to have to kill Ahsoka. And he kind of threw a jab at her with Anakin. It was the first time. We saw that in the trailer.
Yeah.
But
Your legacy is of destruction. Like she's out here, basically it's hypocritical what she's doing is what he's saying because I mean your master and your legacy is destruction. So much death, indirectly, directly or not, semi involved to some extent. Who's to say?
For sure.
But he certainly was trying to use that to help him in the now. Either way.
Yeah,
very smart.
He's trying to. I think he was trying to make her emotional, right? He was trying to play into that, get her angry, maybe make her a little off balance. And I think he succeeded, to be honest.
And speaking of emotions, Shin gets back before Sabine, right? And what does Ahsoka do?
What? Yeah, she assumes that Ahsoka or that Sabine, died, I guess.
Yeah.
And then she got bested. It was a sneaky, getaway with the smoke bomb or whatever. But she assumed, and then she got rage mode. Just slammed her into that rock. It was whoa.
Dark side. Yeah, she used a little dark side and a little bit more perspective of Ahsoka. She doesn't use all aspects of the Force per se, but she's not as strict as a Yoda Jedi or just like the Jedi of Fallen Republic per se. Welcome back. Form 3 apparently. Balin is Vader reincarnated, says Tobias. Maybe.
Balin is Vader reincarnated. Okay. I guess.
I don't know. I don't know.
Slightly different, but what
I think he's his own character, but no, it's fair. Yeah. Whether your comments is out there or within reason, feel free to leave it. I do want to hear your guys' ideas, especially when we get into this later half. But Ahsoka, she does knock the map briefly during this fight. Like she does succeed, not fully, but she delays a little bit, knocks the map away. Sabine comes back, and Shin is unconscious after being thrown like a rag doll. And she tells Sabine to, dislodge the map again, right, or grab it.
Yeah, grab the map on the ground. Wasn't it on the ground at that point?
I think so. Yeah. It's on the ground.
She really hurt her hand. I mean, that's what I'm saying. She had like gloves on or whatever, but still like burned pretty painfully. Yeah. And then Balin was like, "You're gonna regret that." And she's like, "Yeah, because I got burnt." But no, it was on the grass. She's like, "Sabine, grab it." So I think it was good for her to see.
Yeah,
alive. That was, but it was right there at the end when she was already basically overcooked. She was getting beat down.
Yeah, and in the trailer, in one of the trailers somewhere, we had seen like Ahsoka's hand was burnt, and we kind of assumed that was from the lightsaber, but we learned that was from the map itself, and either the magic or due to it being part of the process. Welcome, Kiri. Welcome. We're just nerding out right now, having fun talking about Ahsoka. So was that Night Sister magic potentially? Because Ahsoka's able to touch it in episodes 1 and 2 just fine, or episode 1 rather. But well, what's up, Bray Moo? Love the throwing around Rakshan. Yeah, felt more like a true fight, not just a duel. Missed from the prequels. Yeah, I agree. This felt very Star Wars esque. What's up, Zarimoto, Bismo, and Dan from Stay on Target? Heck yeah! Make sure to go check him out. Who's Balin's master? Um, your guess is as good as mine. I'd have to find, age-wise, he'd obviously be significantly younger when the Jedi Order was truly a thing.
Yeah.
He probably would have been still like a knight at the time, or like a younger knight, though.
Right.
To have been able to survive.
Yeah.
KG, hello, Bismo is better than Lizzo. I've seen you comment that a few times. I will say that's funny. I mean, who do you think? Who do you think is Balin's master?
I've seen some theories and heard some things, but I think the more likely maybe would be like a Plo Koon type. That's one that I've kind of ascribed to. I think I subscribe. Anyway, I think that could possibly work just because of the connection with Ahsoka and this particular show. But that being said, it could be. I've gone around in circles with, who could have been, but that's the one that I kind of keep coming back to. Maybe I'm hoping for that. I don't know.
Yeah, I would just throw a random dart. Could be wrong, but maybe Kit Fisto. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's
pretty much
hard to know. Maybe that would be revealed at some point.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it would at some point. Because it is still from that though. When Balin says, everyone knew Anakin or whatever, and Ahsoka says, "Well, I don't know who you are." Obviously, there's some mystery with that, but that doesn't get addressed though. Really?
Yeah. Is he the same age? Would he have been older than like Qui-Gon? I mean, way older than or younger than Qui-Gon, right? Because I feel like we were talking about maybe even Dooku.
Yeah, he would have been. He would have probably been younger than. Yeah, he would have been younger than Qui-Gon. Probably by like a decade, maybe more. It's hard to tell how old Qui-Gon is portrayed by Liam. I don't really know. But certainly like, I would think like late 20s, something like that. Like he would be like, a fresh Jedi Knight at the time.
Yeah, maybe a little bit older than Obi-Wan in the prequels, or maybe Obi-Wan after like in that time.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty good age estimate. Maybe something like that.
I mean, he's fighting pretty well compared to Obi-Wan in like episode 4, but I think that's just because the Tatooine sun really.
The twin sons.
Man, I'm telling you, they call me Danikin for a reason. I don't want to be fighting like that when I'm a young, aged man. Yeah.
I feel like it would make sense for Ahsoka to not know if Plo was his master. That's true because they were close. Plo Koon is the one who found Ahsoka and brought her to the Order. I feel like maybe she would have known that, but again, who knows? We're just kind of stabbing here.
The connection might have been there, yeah.
Dustin says, was he on the outbound flight and met Thrawn? Like, has he already met Thrawn? Because they were all retrieved for the ship at the end of the episode. Yeah, well, so, yeah, obviously Sabine comes back. She grabs the map.
Yeah.
Balin forces Ahsoka off the edge, right?
Yeah.
I can't say I was really expecting that. I can't really say I was expecting that to like be her death per se. Like I didn't. Yeah. I can't really say. I thought she would even come back towards the end of the episode, but the transition of get into that. But this deep moment now. We get to Sabine, and she gives up the map. But it's through a very long, slowly built up dialogue scene between Balin and Sabine, and we learn that it was due to Ahsoka's untrust of Sabine that her family, Clan Ren, was destroyed, on Mandalore. And again, Balin is just a very good talker. He is able to use this and some other manipulation. Zzra is some of the only family you really got left. I promise to meet, allow you to meet him, and Sabine gives it up, and it's like it's like, oh dang it, Sabine, but like it's very believable. It's not one of those like, oh come on, like how they did
Yeah.
that scene was well, because like if
Yeah.
depending on what was said, I would have been like, no, this is stupid. But how it was done, in my opinion, there it actually made sense. It felt right in the moment that Sabine would make that kind of decision. And realistically, I don't think she was gonna make it out of that situation that well anyway. Like maybe she's able to get a couple of blaster bolts on it. I don't think that would fully break that thing. It might mess it up a little bit, but like who's to say that the longer Baylan talked, Shin could come up from behind and actually finish her off. Somebody could use the Force to get it from her. She was definitely in a situation where she didn't have much time before it could be all over anyway for her. So I think she went with the safest part. Ahsoka was gone from her perspective, right?
Yeah, because what does she get if she destroys the map now? I guess she gets to stay in this galaxy with no Ahsoka, and she just goes about her everyday life knowing that I guess she saved the world from Thrawn. Maybe that's a good enough. She already did that once with Ezra's help, but I think you're right. I think her desire, she's like, I want to see Ezra again because I have nobody left here. And Ahsoka, my former master, is gone. Poor Hu Yang. I guess she would have had Hu Yang. And her Loth cat. Who's gonna watch the Loth?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering about. How does the feeding work and like the food situation with the cat? But Stan Tarkin said, "Cheers for Bismo's beard." Thank you. Yeah. I just I forgot to shave a couple days, and then I just came into a couple weeks, and now it's been a couple months. No.
It's looking good, man. It's definitely looking good.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
Appreciate it.
Solid. Yeah, I love it.
I was trying to see if there's anything in the chat, and just to let you guys know how streaming works is when you actually type my name Bismo, it shows up red, so it's really easy to know if you're asking a question. Because it is sometimes hard to go through everything in the chat. But thanks Sorimoto though. Thanks Dustin. I wonder if we also find out if Corky died in the Purge or some other way. No, that's notable. That's a bean. No, it's not. Whoa. Satine. They got all these names.
Child, right? Right, wasn't Corky was Satine's kid?
Yeah, Obi-Wan and Satine's kid.
Yeah.
Unofficial,
right? Not canon, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like the emotion that Sabine showed. I also thought I was going to say with Baylan sticking to his guns, I guess he was honorable when he said, "I won't hurt you if you give me the map."
Yeah.
And then Shin came up and started force choking because she finally woke up, and and then Baylan was like, "Whoa, let her go, Shin. Down." That's what they were saying. But he honored that and he didn't kill her. Like he could have just ended her. Like he didn't need her for anything.
Yeah, exactly.
She's just going to cause a lot of problems. So again, it adds another layer of like, what's going on with Baylan? Like, does he want her for something else? Does he need her for something else? He's going to use her as a token with Ezra maybe later down the road.
Potentially, maybe. All I know is I really, really liked that scene specifically because I've been saying all along, like, they're complex characters, but like Baylan's a dark Jedi. Like he's like not like purely consumed by the dark side. He has some honor. He thinks on his own. Like if he was, a true dark side user, true Sith, he would have, killed her right there. Like you're saying, no use for her. I got in a couple Twitter battles online with people saying they were not dark Jedi, and I was like, I got a little like, this post is misinformation. Actually, though, they are dark Jedi by definition, but
yeah,
then it's
okay.
It's not my job to go out here and gatekeep per se Star Wars, but I just don't like what misinformation that's going on. So anyhow, it was nice to see that the episode title was Fallen Jedi, which could have like 3 different meanings anyway.
Right.
But regardless, Baylan's a complex character. Shin's a complex character. Shin is ambitious for power.
Yes. But she respects her master. She does,
for now.
For now. Yeah, you're not wrong. Now she doesn't have Marok, so she lost her best mate there. So what's she gonna do? Now she's got to do all the dirty work herself,
Yeah.
But is there any chance that Sabine and her have some kind of, connection at some point, work together, or do some kind of,
Yeah.
is
I could
Shin
see that.
turnable? I don't know.
Yeah, I see. Honestly, that the Shin character, I see this going one of two ways. It could be exactly what you're saying there. Sabine might be able to, like, through interactions with her, turn Shin a bit. And I've made like a video talking about why Shin might turn, because Ivanka, I forget her last name, but the actor who plays her talked about just how complex her character is, and specifically saying, Dave Filoni is showing the spectrum of light and dark and what's kind of in between. So I know I'm picking a lot of little details here per se, but yeah, I could see it go that way, where maybe Sabine brings a little bit more of the humility out of Shin, sways her to the more of the light side per se,
Mhm.
or Shin kills Balin and then they solve a problem per se of unfortunately
Yeah.
not having Ray Stevenson, but a believable I guess path forward of the apprentice, a dark side user apprentice killing their master, for just
Mhm.
lust of power.
Yeah. Yeah. It's being set up as probably happening that way. You just wonder in the real world what's going to happen with the character of Balin anyhow,
Yeah, for
how it was
sure.
written and all that sort of thing. So he's such a compelling villain.
Hmm.
And, he did say I watched an interview from Star Wars Celebration. He said there's like more twists and turns, and it's like, whoa, this guy's
Oh,
insane. So in the second half,
yeah.
he said after the mid season, and there must be something coming down the pike because I
I
guess unless they miscalculated and they are all
no.
gone in the void forever. We don't know that.
Yeah, their calculations were off for a little bit. Well, it's been about 3 years.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Sabine. I haven't seen Thrawn.
I
Oh,
guess
oh
we could.
well.
Oh, well, back to life as normal. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. And Jason, we didn't really. Well, we haven't finished the full thing, but it was an
Yeah,
interesting when they made the jump. I loved how they
yeah.
cinematically
I
and
mean,
the
we're
pressure.
basically there though. Like,
Yeah.
after they've pretty much finished the calculations, the Elsbeth sends a shuttle, go picks up the bad guys with Sabine up, so she gets on the Eye of Sion. They're pretty
Yeah.
much ready to jump off, and then Hera and a squadron of X-wings, including Captain Carson Teva, which
Mhm.
as soon as I saw Captain Carson Teva, which was such a surprise, I immediately tweeted out, "Oh my gosh, Captain Carson Teva!" Like, spoilers first or whatever, and then I put like
Yeah.
Zeb incoming question mark question mark. That's how confident I
Yeah.
was. Like, this is how they'll bring him in, right?
For sure. I thought the same thing. Shakes his head no.
What
There was
happened?
yeah.
I was making a joke with a buddy of mine on a FaceTime call. I was like, the one alien they had in the cockpit, that was actually like that's who they recorded with, but they were gonna put over like the CGI episode,
Uh,
but they couldn't afford it, so they just left it.
they went practical on that one.
Uh,
I think they actually had to use the same X-wing cockpit too for all the different actors. No, they didn't make 6 X-wings.
yeah.
The cockpits are identical. No, but it was kind of cool that, and then but we did get Brendan Wayne. Not that he's
Yeah. And,
you know
speaking of The Mandalorian, though, with
yes,
seeing Captain Carson, what did in Mando season 3 we leave off?
right.
What does Carson and Din? Where do we leave off? Din and Grogu are working for the New Republic now, doing missions. Is
Hmm.
there actually? I thought there was zero chance, but now they're saying this, a wild second half. Is there a chance for that Din and Grogu have a story somewhere in here to help out? I guess I don't know.
The chances went up substantially.
Yeah, that's what I
Um,
feel, but it's still,
it's
it's a
still a
reach.
question. Yeah, it's a reach. However, we were introduced to Ahsoka in Mandalorian season 2, as
Mhm.
well as Elspeth, as well as the name of Thrawn.
Yeah.
Purgle showed up in season 3 of Mandalorian. Now
Yeah.
we got
Yes.
Ava. We saw Zeb in Mandalorian season 3. So there's more and more things ratcheting toward these things being connected. And so to get some kind of nod, maybe Tava as far as we go, and I would hope at some point Zeb, you know, maybe that's later on
For,
in the season, unless we're going to get some crazy stuff in the next episode,
for
which is
sure.
why
And
we're to like the theaters and stuff.
Yeah, and well, yeah, I think they're pretty confident for that. But very well said there. Just all the things you kind of listed off of how interconnected this Manoverse is, and that lead up to this Heir to the Empire movie that's coming up,
Right.
which I'm sure we'll then get for sure have all the characters together. But is this the preview or some
Yeah.
of the build up before all of that? But yeah, then the Iosan tries to take off, or no, it does take off successfully, and the X-wing squadron and Hera, their ships are affected in that scene with the.
Yeah.
I'm a physics-based major, but I wouldn't be able to explain the electromagnetivity of the hyperspace. No, but
They know it's a lot of energy. We know
yeah,
what, like a lot of
so yeah,
energy
6
spiking there.
hyperspace cores. I saw a couple questions I do want to kind of get to, not leave
Yeah.
leave stuff hanging. What if right after they jumped, Ezra shows up and is like, "They finally made it back. Where's Sabine?" Well, I mean, like Ezra shows up to the galaxy. That would be so funny.
He was on the Purgle on the planet of Cetos when they land. Before they land, they just went like ships in the night.
That would be super funny.
No.
That kind of reminds me of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Its plot, a lot of that going on.
Gotcha.
Maybe Baylan wants her as a possible ally since they don't really seem to like Elsbeth. Kind of a wild card that could be in their favor for sure. If Sabine's kind of on her own, does she want to go with the creepy Night Sister witch or Thrawn, or maybe the person that at least spared her life with imminent defeat that she could finish her off? The fact checker from Stay on Target says, do you think they'll have to search to find Thrawn, or will he just somehow be ready for their arrival? I think he'll be ready for their arrival, but how they'll find him is with the Night Sister magic, Morgan Elsbeth, the Force or whatever magic she has, kind of sense the location. So I don't think it will take too long. I think next episode we will see Thrawn.
Okay, that gets me excited. Does that mean we also see Ezra?
I hope so. I think so.
Okay.
How this was just left off. Now I think a lot has to be. This could be a thing though, where how this episode ends, because I'll tell you, nobody was expecting how episode 4 of Ahsoka ended. Like, no matter how much stuff you knew, how many leaks, spoilers, anything, nobody knew that Anakin Skywalker was gonna show up on screen at the end in the world between worlds at the end of episode 4. But can I just say that transition? So they do all that, and we get a shot with the ocean and the waves, and we get some stars, and then the look of Ahsoka just floating there, and it's just one of the best transitions I've seen. Like, this is a high quality transition, like not just like, oh, this is great for quality or Star Wars standards. Like, this is a high quality transition in film, seamlessly from that water to now she's in the world between worlds. I couldn't believe it.
I honestly couldn't either. It was like an editor's transition dream. Like, just carrying us away, but also like forward into the next section, like changing your perspective. Even her being upside down, kind of like skewed everything as you see her come into focus. You're like, what is going? She's laying down, and then the way that the particles around her start to move. It's not waves. It's like, what? And that's genius. I loved that.
Yeah, and then of course we get a mysterious voice. Hello, Snips. And then Master ? She says Master. It still says mysterious voice. And what appears to be Anakin, says, "Oh, I didn't expect you to be here this soon," or something like that.
I didn't expect to see you so soon, or something like that.
And we get the zoom up, which I'll be honest, I did shed a little tear to see that. And those can say he doesn't look good. Looks a heck of a lot better than he did in Kenobi. That how he looked there didn't take away much for me. And also, you gotta think of it from a perspective of maybe they're not trying to replicate exactly how he'd look, but this is using the Force somehow, whether this is a Force ghost or Force
Right.
manipulation. He's appearing how he wants to appear, or how the being that's controlling him, maybe the son of Mortis, wants him to appear. Which now I think is a good time to take a look at the poll and make sure to respond to the poll if you haven't already. Do you think that this is actually Anakin Skywalker? When I say that, like the true light side Return of the Jedi Force ghost, the good guy Anakin that's redeemed. Is this the Anakin here to help? Or is this a version of him, a dark side version, Vader, or like the son of Mortis? Because honestly, the first time I think I paused the episode, like just because I was like so taken aback. But the Vader's theme that plays, that's undeniable that the Vader's theme plays. I think that's
they're just messing with us at this point. The music in perfect Star Wars fashion, John Williams-esque, but it's Kevin Kiner, is a character. That music is like, okay, without that music, you don't maybe have as many questions at the end. I mean, it fades out with the music. So you're like,
it fades out. I turn on subtitles. It says Vader's theme. Like
it says Vader's theme. All right.
Yeah, I put that. I made a video just like, saying, I don't think this is Anakin, and they're specifically putting Vader's theme in a transition. And now there was another detail, a video I just had posted earlier today. Now I could be wrong, but I tried to zoom in on his lightsaber hilt. And if you take a look at it, that hilt is much darker all around than the normal saber that's more metallic from the more.
Oh, you got it there.
Not really, but it's more of something like this, where there's just a little bit of metallic in the middle per se, and mostly black. Okay. And then I was looking, all right, I'm gonna look through some images of Vader and Vader's saber, and then I came across the Kenobi show, one of the most recent time they've put Vader in something. And then I look at the saber there, and it's like, whether it's the angle, this could still be Anakin's saber. I'm not saying 100%, but it looks exactly like the saber that Vader is using in the Kenobi show. That's all I'm saying.
That's fascinating. I'm glad you got those laser eyes to zoom in on that. That's pretty cool, because that even more so hints toward Vader. So can I say what I voted for? The poll's still going, right?
Yeah, the poll's still going.
No, I voted Vader. I think it's dark because of the music. The music for me pulls me directions, and the lack of music in the World Between Worlds, when that happened, there was a little bit of a cinematic thing. That's where I was getting a little emotional. Like, whoa, I'm feeling this snips. I was reminded of Rebels in that battle that they had. I was like, oh, that was so emotional when she knew it was Anakin, and you see his kind of part of his face, and just all of that. And because of Clone Wars season 7, is that what I'm thinking? And Rebels, anyway. But just powerful stuff. So I loved it. And the music, it actually was an unresolved Vader theme. It was bum bum, and it stopped. So it's like even more so, like you didn't even resolve it. So is it even? That's like you're freaking me out, man.
I definitely listened to that a few times and rewatched that scene to be able to make those videos. But you being an audio person, you make music, you produce, you edit videos, but audio is the most important thing, arguably, in film. Like the audio, music, the dialogue, but specifically the music in these scenes where there's less dialogue, has more weight almost than what's going on per se from there. And that's why I'm going with that. They're not going to just throw Vader's theme in there for no reason. By the way, the poll results though are 43% of people are on the it's him, so just under half, and then we'll say 56% say it's not him, so like a dark side version, but it's 30% say Vader, 26% say like the son or someone else, because that is another thing. And I am trying to make a video on this. I don't know if I'll for sure post this one or not, and I'll talk about it here for you, the hardcore people in here anyway. But it could be the son of Mortis for a couple of things. When Ahsoka is brought into the World Between Worlds in Rebels, she has her bird with her, right? Her bird, and that bird is the daughter. So if the daughter is able to traverse in the world between worlds, why couldn't the
Right.
son be able to traverse? And we know that with their level of the Force, they can manipulate a lot of things. So could this be the son in the form of Anakin? Because the son knows what Anakin looks like from their interaction. And
Right.
in that Mortis arc, even Ahsoka is turned to the dark side briefly by the son there. So is this a trial per se, or some of that lingering after effect? Or but I still would more so say that that is an option. But I am with the this is Vader. It's a manifestation of like
Yeah.
Ahsoka's thoughts and her fear and her regrets of like leaving the Jedi Order and all that. That creates now this barrier because she just had failed yet again. This barrier now appears and of what she wants, but it's not actually Anakin. It's Anakin Vader, and she's gonna have to fight or defeat this Vader to then actually access the true Anakin Skywalker that will help her on her journey finally.
Ooh, wow. I love that. I love all of that. I just did she so I guess I don't even completely understand how she got into the world between worlds. Unless the son or the brother or whatever pulled her in there. Or does she if she dies, does she just like she's in the world between worlds again because she was saved there once? Is she dreaming? Did she just get knocked out when she fell off that cliff and she's dreaming that she's in the world between worlds? Or is she
Yeah.
actually in the world between worlds?
Yeah, true. And a friend of mine sent like an Instagram reel. I don't have it, but of Dave Filoni talking about the world between worlds. He
Mhm.
doesn't really define the world between worlds because he doesn't want a definition for it for people to like, this is time travel or this is that.
Rules, yeah.
There really aren't that many rules. Well, from
Yeah.
my interpretation of the things he did say though is like to some extent it's like a conglomeration of everything is happening all at once in there per se. It's not necessarily time travel, not
Yep.
necessarily this, that, or the third. And it is really ingenious with how Ezra can't save Kanan because if he saves Kanan, it kills everyone else because Kanan's last moments are force pushing Ezra and
Right.
the rest of Ghost Crew out. But if you take that away, they disappear. So just seeing that balance, kind of like the butterfly effect.
Yep. You
I
don't
want
want to miss
to.
the time.
Yeah, I want to definitely hear some your guys' thoughts in the chat, like actual questions. I'm going to go through a little bit here, and let me know if you see any that I missed or like pop out to you. But Dustin says it's Star Killer pretending to be Anakin. New theory, get on it. Wasn't Anakin always losing his saber? Anakin, this weapon is your life. I
Yes.
don't know. I don't know. I'm thoroughly confused. Says Rushblade. Well, that's where the certified theorists come into play. No,
Yes.
this is the fun part though. When they leave us off asking
Yeah.
questions, this is the fun part about Star Wars. This is the fun part about anything that's good in film when it's not predictable like this per se, and it's done in just a fun manner that gets us theorizing like this. Even Maroc to some extent, right? Like
Yeah.
it's fun to just be able to like who this is, and even if it doesn't turn out the way we think it is, can it still be done in a manner that we can like it? But Dustin, I am prepared to be delusional. Accept that as my new theory. Oh, that's good. I don't know. People are saying it's Anakin. Some people are saying it's the son. I guess we'll just find out Tuesday. Yeah, I guess we shall. I do think it's Vader per se. That's my
Okay.
my that's my that's
So
my
not
guess.
Anakin. Because how cool is that if it's Anakin, if it, at some point it really is Anakin, how powerful is that reunion truly going to be?
It's gonna be crazy, and that's what I'm living for. But I feel like Ahsoka's got to work to get there. Kind of like
Yeah, I
how
agree.
just being able to commune with I guess Obi-Wan being able to commune with Qui-Gon, like it's not
Yeah.
so simple. Like you kind of gotta work for it.
Because that's the
Um,
first time she will have seen him in normal form
yeah,
since she walked away.
yeah,
Powerful. It's like
sure.
bringing it all back.
Yeah, and some people were saying I saw a couple of comments on this, and I'll address it live. some people were saying Ahsoka would not stand a chance against like a Nightfall dark side Anakin, which
Okay.
um my thoughts on this really are this: if this is happening if they do fight and this is happening in the world between worlds and this is Vader per se, I think this is a manifestation of her mind. It's more of a trial than like a let's get sweaty with it, like Anakin 20,000 metachlorians, like
Eh,
no, it's not. I don't think it's that. It's more so like Luke, and I made this on in the video, but Luke on Dagobah having to go into that basically
yeah.
room of requirement, that cave, and finding the darkness inside himself in Vader, and it's not the same, but a similar concept, that this is more of a trial. It's not necessarily about Ahsoka's fighting Anakin, but in some senses fighting her own regrets because she knows what she had learned during Rebels, what Anakin became, and that obviously lives with her to this day.
Oh man. Yeah. Absolutely.
The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural. Good one. Good one.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's crazy.
Bismo getting sweaty with it. I love it. Gotta. Yeah, look,
I'm,
the pit stained. No.
the sweat. I can see the sweat. Yeah, no. Like, can they use this world between worlds now and take? Is Ahsoka like not going to reunite with the rest of the crew because she's going to be on this otherworldly journey now to revisit and heal and find solace, so that when she returns in the final episode or two, she can be fully formed, having gotten over her past. Because clearly at this point, she's still, a little uh,
Yeah.
emotional and whatnot. And she talked to Sabine. She's like, well, you do the right thing. Like, she's trying to train her. But there's still some disconnect there. Like, they're not fully, they're a lot tighter after the space battle, and they clearly are rekindling their relationship a little bit.
Yeah.
But neither character is fully fleshed out as far as like feeling whole, right? They're both kind of this
For sure.
vacuum inside because of their past.
Yeah. That's a great way to look at it. Yeah, I mean, Sabine's really heavily affected, and we see this in even episode 1 still, by Ezra. And what's going to happen if Sabine gets there and Ezra's not what she expects? What does all these years in the middle of nowhere, literally a different galaxy, do? What if Ezra is like not himself? I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Well, we know he's not Marok, so he's not dark, at least at this point.
Well,
So
he could be dark.
but he still could be. Yeah. No, I
But
mean,
no,
you're
I
right.
don't think he'll be dark if we see him. I don't. I think we will get a mature, confident Ezra per se. It
Yeah.
being Vader would not make sense. Before he died, he turned back to the light, unless he pulled Revan at some point. That's not the point we're trying to make here, or at least I'm trying to make. The world between worlds is everything and anything all at once. Anything can become reality. And for example, if Ahsoka thinks, if she's in this place and thinks something, that could become reality in itself. It's not a matter of that's Vader, like real Vader. It's as real as she makes it, I guess. That's where my theory is coming at. But
So does she
no,
have to see a side version of herself too, then, like Vader did, or like Luke did,
maybe
or
that.
Luke did? I mean, he saw
I
Vader.
mean, she could. I remember you talking about like, or I didn't get to what you were saying about. Will she join up with the rest of them, or will she be kind of stuck doing this thing? And I think this will be like a couple episode thing at least,
Okay.
where she's doing this stuff. And I think we'll have like that Gandalf the White's like situation. But have you ever seen Dragon Ball?
A little bit, yes. Yes, I have.
So the main character Goku, he has a tendency to not show up to help out everyone else. Everyone's getting their butt kicked. Everything's going off. Now, could it be something like that where things are looking pretty bad, but now Ahsoka and her true full power, Ahsoka the White or whatever, shows up, and cue the like hopeful Star Wars music, the do 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 do. I don't know. Ahsoka enters. Heavy
I think
speculation.
Heavy speculation, but I love it. I like this speculation. Let's keep going on it.
Yeah,
I like
I'm having a ton of
the
fun.
white.
These are the funnest streams for me when we can get just give our theories, give our thoughts on what's going on. I'm trying to peek at chat. Just to mention again, it does make it easier for me specifically if you want to be read. If you do type Bismo, like it shows up red, real easy. Like I can guarantee you, I will be able to see it.
Yeah.
She's a Mortis god or something, right? Maybe she doesn't know how to go there on her own, but she's an inherent ability. Yeah, I to some extent with what happens on the in the Mortis arc and with the bird, I guess, kind of being a part of her, I could see that like the bird opening that path, or that if this is the son of Mortis opening it up, if it actually is Anakin, he could have opened it up. But
Right.
yeah, it could have been her like defense mechanism of her mind, like saving her, I guess, if she does have that inherent ability from being with the daughter, or having some of the power per se.
Yeah. Yep. It's like a fail safe now. Can she not die? Does she just fall into the world between worlds every time she's about to die until she becomes Ahsoka the White, or who knows?
That's interesting. Yeah.
It's a
Uh,
default. She just spawns again.
It's like a new game. I don't have it. My friend was playing it, but it's like it's the same story each time, but once you die, you start at the beginning, so you kind of like learn about more each time to be able to complete it. But
Yeah,
similar idea.
I know
Yeah.
Dustin, the Stay on Target host, is curious because of that scene at the end of Rebels and not having the staff, and there's
Yeah.
being like one or two differences. Like, is that going to
Yeah.
replay? Because she didn't have the same color cloak as
I
the Rebels one.
I was chilling in the bath listening to that in deep thought, and when that was a really good point that was made on your guys' show, because I hadn't thought of it like that. I just thought this was an overlooked scene, and I thought those were exactly the exact same scenes. But yeah, are we gonna get a scene like that with the staff? Truly, truly Ahsoka the White. But
Right.
things are definitely a bit. I'm getting a headache now thinking about
Yeah, it's
it. But
trippy, man. It's not like, even like you said, it's not even like true time travel. It's like different realities, like you're saying, which is, man, you're starting to get into like Christopher Nolan, isn't that his name? He does all the crazy movies, time travel, time jumping,
sounds about right.
and not Nolan, yeah, Nolan, yeah, and then but with World Between Worlds, other galaxies, maybe in this other galaxy, like time stands still, like
Mhm.
uh there was a Nolan movie where they went to that planet and like every second was like 10 years back on Earth. And so this is why your head can start spinning. My head starts to spin a little bit if I'm honest, but it's exciting
Yeah,
nevertheless.
yeah. I'm just pumped. Obviously, I mean they had theaters set up now for like 10 different places. The closest one to me is Chicago. I will not be making that, unfortunately.
Mm.
It's a bit too far, but
Maybe if they gave us more notice, maybe if they gave us like
yeah,
more
more
than 4 days.
Yeah, depending on, yeah. I mean, a Tuesday's pretty rough as is, but
Yeah, I know.
well,
That's
that
true.
would be a ton of fun though. That would be so much fun. But it shows
Yeah,
that
well,
they're confident that this is going to be
yeah.
a spectacle. This is going to be something truly special to watch. And if what we just watched wasn't truly special, if they're thinking last episode wasn't that, they're basically saying like this next episode is even better than the 10 out of 10, or at least that was my rating on the last
Yeah.
episode that we just got. I guess I thought I heard your rating. Were you a 5 out of 5?
Yeah, I was 5 out of 5. So be
Yeah.
10 out of 10 if you do it that way. 5 rebels, man. And I said,
Mhm.
they were making fun of me a little bit because, certain things, whatever. But,
No,
it's just,
I'm with you. I'm with you. The from start to finish, I think that was our first episode from start to finish. Episode 3,
was close.
it's close, but like the beginning, for me personally, but
Yeah.
like from start to finish, pretty congruent story. The slow parts were meaningful. The dialogue
Yeah.
was good, in my opinion. I have zero
Yes.
problems with the CGI personally. For
Because
me,
there's so many variables there. Yeah. Yeah, I get
there's so
it.
many different variables there. I'm not gonna like get too deep onto something like that. Um, maybe I'm not watching on the ultra 4K, like the best television or something. Maybe that's something that's going on. Like I wouldn't say my TV's bad per se, or what I'm watching on, but when I saw Luke Mando season 2, I'm not sitting there staring at his forehead. I'm thinking,
Yeah.
wow, are you kidding me? We have Luke Skywalker here to save the day. I'm
Same.
much more concerned about the story of what's going on.
Yeah.
If I see like some distorted pixels on the screen, that's one thing, but at the end of the day, they don't have these actors at at the age of the characters they're supposed to portray. They're
Yep.
gonna feel somewhat robotic to some extent, and
Right.
I guess you could say their job is to get it to where you don't notice. I didn't notice there. I only started noticing things when people started specifically
Calling
like
it out.
nitpicking. But even when I go back and looked at the scene, I'm like, we don't even know what Anakin this is anyway. So
Yeah. You're right.
I
I
don't
call
know.
it verisimilitude. That's the word that is suspension of disbelief. And do you believe this? Is this believable enough in this phase for you to move along with the story, or does it take you out of the story? So now, particularly Nick on our show, we'll have to have you on, and you can convince him. But he gets hung up on any CG that's like he would rather see Wrinkle Man than like Smooth Man if it's this,
Yeah.
trying to de-age.
Hey,
But that's
he's an
just his
artist,
opinion.
or
He's an artist, yeah, and he's a very anti de-aging, and he'd rather see maybe makeup, practical sort of stuff, and so that's part of it. But yeah, for me, it passed the suspense. I believe that was Anakin. That's what they were trying to portray, at least in this scene. Luke as well. Obviously, there's some Jello a little bit there, but for that moment, I was just happy to see Luke wrecking shop. It was that kind of a reveal in this episode with
yeah,
Anakin. I was like, when
I
when
couldn't
she
believe
turned around, I was like,
it.
it's gonna be him standing there, isn't it? It's just like music swelled. It was powerful.
Yeah. Let's read
Wrinkle
some
man.
stuff in the here. Dustin says, I think the Force journey to test her and mold her to become Ahsoka she is meant to be, possibly a continuation of the Chosen One. That's a good way to look at it. She still has to make the choice. I think a lot rides on that. She walks away from Anakin. Time Anakin becomes Vader. What if she can make amends by, facing off against her demons per se, to then access the true chosen one that can guide her on her journey. I think it being a trial is either first or second favorite theory. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Like, it's more like a manifestation of the Force that's creating this Vader per se.
Okay.
Some like, even if that's the case, like, I still like, if it is Vader, it will feel like a true Vader. Like,
Yeah.
it feel as real as it can be, because that is the world between worlds. But it's still ultimately her thoughts that affect what's going on, and that is something I had picked up on upon the Instagram reel I was watching with Dave Filoni, when he's talking about Ezra when he's in the world between worlds, the things he's seeing and the things he's being kind of sucked into are more things that are relevant to him, right? But he doesn't necessarily know what's going on though. Still,
Yes.
Vismo, Vismo.
Bismo. It's just genius. If you zoom out, whoosh, Dave Filoni, you're a genius. Whoosh, okay, now we're back in. It's like he's just blowing our collective minds, and
Yeah.
doing it with such care, and opening up that world to where we can see almost like what if scenarios, like reenacting, reliving with other characters across time and space. As they said in the quote, Thrawn is communicating with Elsbeth through time and space. It's like, well, that's kind
Yeah.
of a good way of explaining the world between worlds. Is he like
Yeah.
somehow in there or through there? Or
There's greater powers but beyond our understanding. Like, exactly. Vismo, by the way, Bismo, but I'll read this out real quick. But I'm really curious, like, about Sabine. I think she'll get stronger. Don't right now she's broken. Yeah, I think she has an arc to go there. I think we'll see her even get stronger with the Force and just stronger as a person. Hopefully, she's in a tough spot right now. Remember on the fall that there was actually rubble and stuff in the anime version, and painting looked older. Don't forget to mention she was in the white cloak. Yeah, she was in the white cloak. Looks a bit older. But the only gripe now I have with this scene is Sabine is in that scene with the hair that looks like it was done in the trailer. So I still lean towards was an interpretation. But maybe at the time, because credit where credit is due, Dave has been thinking about this story and planning this for years. Like, could be decades at this point, really, since Rebels started and where we're at. Like, that's basically over a decade, I think. I think it was like 2012 or something like that. Rebels first came out, I want to say, I guess.
He might have been planning this, think of the historical significance, longer than George Lucas planned out the original Star Wars trilogy.
For sure.
He's been with Star Wars, George Lucas. It was in him. He has the midichlorian, so never mind.
Yeah, but what I'm getting at with that though is that end of scene with Rebels happened a while ago. Maybe he just mixed up a couple of the orders of things. Maybe he always wanted Ahsoka the White, but maybe he realized it would be better and make more sense that this would happen at this point during the show. Which, if that's the change that's going to happen, I'm not gonna be like, Dave, that's tough.
Yeah, that's
but if he does do that, that'd be crazy.
That's where we're going on last night. Like, Dustin was maybe a little not happy with the Marok reveal because he really wanted Starkiller, and some people were upset a little bit with that. But if Dave Filoni sits down and explains it, we're all okay, because these things he thinks about for years, and we think about it for maybe a month, and we put our theories together. But he's thought about, like, from here to there to there to there to there. He's like 10 years in the future already on the, like, 5 films down the road or whatever. And we're sitting here, like, nitpicking this little detail. And he's already got, like, so that's where we are as fans, And so, but we have faith in Filoni, hashtag, whatever.
Hashtag faith in Filoni, for sure. And what you're saying there, I want to see Dave Filoni's whiteboard. And I think I've heard actors or other people say, like, just how much of a genius he is, but how much he's got planned out, like, even in kind of recent interviews, like, what's on his whiteboard, Like, what's...
Man.
Yeah.
And now that he's, like, officially the head creative over there.
Yeah, which is huge. And someone just commented this. Bree Mute says, I think this is a new era of Star Wars with Ahsoka. Will be a lot like the prequels, will shake up what we know. Some will hate, some will love, but at the end of the day, Dave Filoni has a story to tell, and that's why it works. It's a great take, for sure, because ultimately not everyone's gonna like things. And I mean, can anything truly be 100% liked? I guess, but well, some things, but I guess, but I'm happy with the direction of how things are going anyhow. But welcome back, Coffee on Corbin. Also, see you, Rushblade, if you're already out. Thanks again. What were you saying?
No, I'm just saying, I'm just so happy that we're at this point of this mid-season. There's a little bit of, it felt like, pressure on the Ahsoka show, and the Star Wars fandom being a little bit divided, maybe.
Yeah.
And I think this is the way of the future, as Bree just said, with Dave Filoni at the helm, leading these shows. Like, you've heard that maybe these other side shows have been delayed, pushed back. Obviously, there's like a writer's strike. But if that just gives Dave more time to connect these universes, and so they all make sense, you got a good thing going right now.
Yeah.
And they know they got a good thing going. And they can't even really market it like they should be able to. They should have all these actors on talk shows. Yeah. And
imagine Hayden Christensen, coming out and saying, I just want to say thank you guys for all the support. It just means a ton. Like, that would just be so great for him. I hope this ends quickly enough that he is able to, get that fan love. I had something, and I'm losing it. Oh, yeah. Yes, or a couple days ago, and even still today, I have not seen, speaking of Star Wars fandom, like, very, very rough spot before Ahsoka. After that mid-season finale, I haven't seen so many people talking about Star Wars in a positive way since Mando season 2 finale. It could have been even more. It actually genuinely could have been more. Really? Blew away, like, people enjoying Kenobi, that kind of stuff, like, make some waves, but, like, there were a lot of people talking about Ahsoka on social media yesterday and talking about it in general, and the day before. And I really haven't seen just that much universal, I did a poll on my channel, and I haven't even seen a poll like this before, and it actually broke the poll. I don't know if it's still like this, but I had at one point, I said favorite episode of Ahsoka so far, episode 1, 2, 3, 4. Right now it says 96% episode 4. It was at 97% today, and the math didn't even
Wow.
add up correctly. It was 97, 1%, 1%, 2%, which means it would add to 101. How YouTube is set up in their polls is if one person votes, it will say 1% on something. So that means like that's like a single vote. I've never seen like, for example, Mando season 3. I did a lot of polls. What's everyone's favorite episode? There's a good amount of like discussion, debate. 97%. That is statistically significant. 5%, like I'll say right now, being that's over 95% from a probability and statistics standpoint, anything that is greater than 95% or less than 5% is statistically significant. Numbers like this are crazy. Like,
Yeah. Dude, that's really good. I'm glad we got the math guy on now because you're bringing the heat.
I'm not messing around.
You're bringing the levity to the power of this moment, and it's deservedly so that the prequels are getting the love that they deserve with Anakin showing up. When you see Luke show up, that's something, because that's like all generations. That is original Star Wars. It's Luke. But when you see Anakin, he's the chosen one.
Yep.
This is really what it's about. That's what George Lucas had intended the entire time. So it's like, whoa, we just got, and then, of course, Vader. You get to hear Vader's theme at any point of any Star Wars show. You're like, yeah.
Yeah. Sure. Well, we'll do a couple. We'll answer a couple more things here. There's a couple good questions here. Coffee and Corbin also said I had a similar poll, 315 votes, 95%. Statistically significant. Episode 4 is the best episode. Yeah, that is crazy. Dustin asks, will they avoid the sequel trilogy altogether now? I think that it's a possibility. I'm not in the category of like, I don't think they'll retcon the sequels. I don't think that will happen. But they could be entering a path forward where they see this success of Ahsoka and how much love that they're getting, that rather than retcon or do, they just make their own stories. At the end of the day, like, they just kind of like work around it. Like, kind of, they could potentially avoid it, not necessarily destroy it. And they could do that for a number of reasons. Well, first off, the story that's currently happening happens close to, it's like 2.5, 3 decades before the sequels. Tons of time in between. Introducing, obviously, new galaxies, so we can have stories in different places with these different characters. And then the sequel trilogy, for those of you that don't know, happens across a singular year in the Star Wars universe. It wouldn't be very difficult to bypass or go even past if some of these stories leak beyond that, per se. But I think the point is that with the new galaxy and in general, they could avoid it, so they don't have to worry about, some fans want to retcon it, some fans like the sequels, and play the more middle ground and just make stories elsewhere. And that's why I'm excited for things like Dawn of the Jedi. I want different, and that's what I like about Ahsoka. And at the same time, they have the right amount of familiarity with having the characters we know and love, and continuation from previous things. Like, this is a perfect example of cameos / continuation of lore and characters we know while bringing in an element of new. And that's what so much fun. And I'll just say, being honest, we're halfway through the season. This by far for me is my favorites of all live action Star Wars shows on Disney Plus. Bold with only 4 episodes, but I'll say it.
And that is statistically significant. You heard it right here, folks. Bismo, it's huge.
Actually, episode 3 of Book of Boba Fett, favorite in 4.
Okay. I love it. Yeah, that's you said it, you hit the nail on the head. Like, you concurrently gave us Vader from this galaxy / Anakin, whoever he was, which ties together episode 1, the prequels, all the way to episode 6, and even the sequels technically, because they're constantly referring to him and his master Palpatine.
Yeah.
But you also at the same time launched literally into another galaxy.
Yeah.
Like the last scene is launching into the galaxy, but you're still here with Darth Vader. So
Yeah.
Filoni's like on this wackadoodle time thing where we're just blazing a new trail and we're also staying anchored at the same time. So it's
Now,
just ridiculous.
now, I just had a really, ooh. Now the world between worlds. I just remember seeing and also thought of something. On Lothal, they get to one side of the planet to the other with seamlessly, with not them directly, but with the wolves, and they help transport, right? And this is like kind of a connection to the world between worlds in some extent, but somewhat related, unrelated. What I had just thought of though is Ahsoka enters the world between worlds there, but I don't think that anything is defined in the world between worlds, like including distance, space, time. Like she's just in everything and anything all at once, so she could pop up anywhere. I Yes, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't think you can quantify where she is though. From like a
Yeah.
like there wouldn't be
Okay,
coordinates and there wouldn't be coordinates in space. Like think of all the galaxies and all that. She's in a completely separate space that could include all of everything. Like, the center of the galaxy, but beyond that, like.
But also the outer edge of the galaxy at the same time.
Yeah, yeah, like, yeah. It's Dave Filoni. I don't know what he was on when he did this, but no, that was
You
crazy.
can tell that he eats, sleeps, and breathes all of this. And he and in the interview,
cares.
he really does. And because
I should say, yeah, no, this isn't like a play it safe story that we've been getting from a lot of these. They're really swinging for the fences. But what were we saying?
Yeah, no, he was George Lucas's Padawan. He's been called that, and he owns that. So he has the right to move on and carry this legacy because he also knows how to treat the current legacy with respect. And it's too bad, in some ways that he wasn't involved more in the sequels.
Yeah,
in my opinion, but we can respect what's in the sequels and. Mm-hmm. Like you said, work with it, around it, and through it, and move along, and but also take parts from it. It's just it gives me so much hope.
Yeah, for sure. I think it just kind of gives options moving forward, and I think you can still use elements from that story. Just take the good, take what's needed. Per se.
Can she just make John Williams live forever though? That's all I want.
We got get him in the Palpatine Rise of Skywalker thing. Oh my gosh, yeah. No way they'll avoid the sequel trilogy, but they would just make things worse. Best thing to do is make sense to keep moving forward. I mean, I respect your take, but I don't think it would make things worse. They could just have different stories going on. Like, why do I don't think Thrawn necessarily has to be connected to sequels. He's a rated, like, there's layers to villains, right? Like Palpatine's the big bad of Star Wars per se, but like in some senses Thrawn is kind of a big bad on his own, and who knows? Thrawn never loses. He loses to Ezra. You think if he has a chance to come back to anything, he hasn't been plotting, and making his mind as sharp as he can be. He's probably borderline senile, but he's going to be a force to reckon with.
Yeah. How the heck is he communicating to even orchestrate the plan from another galaxy to come get him? Like, that's a long distance phone call right there.
Yeah, for sure. Is that how she could go to the new galaxy, viewing Ezra's timeline? Yeah, I think it's more complicated than that, but like somewhat. It hurts my brain to think about it, but potentially, maybe. But hot take: this isn't the world between worlds at all. None of it is real. It is an option. This could just all be operating in her mind.
Mhm.
But I feel like I feel like Dave's pretty good with this continuity, and it'd be cool either way. Either way, that is a good theory. Coffee, that would be crazy. Maybe Elsbeth did some magic thing. I think Elsbeth is just focused on getting to Thrawn. You know, based on how she talks about Thrawn, she might have a crush on him.
Yeah, a thing going.
Yeah.
Sounds like it, you know. And what we're gonna get more with that Night Sister magic. We're gonna get a return of Marak or other fighters in this form. If she can do it with one person, or whoever can do it with one person, you know, is there gonna be more of that? So that's what I told Dustin. Like maybe Marak is coming back, man. Maybe he's his shell will be an entire army. No, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Brave Moo made a correction. They meant avoid, not necessarily like build up to it. Which, but yeah, I think they could easily just kind of I think that is kind of like from a business perspective. Ultimately, this is a business. It's not as fun to talk about, but they do need to be thinking about from a perspective. Things aren't hitting as well. What have we done? Let's review what we've done. Maybe we should be avoiding that stuff. Oh, this is doing well. Let's focus more on that. Um, yeah, Ahsoka.
Could be a business move. Put
Yeah,
that in the theaters,
yeah.
and there's
Ooh,
defense.
I'll pay for it myself. I'll go 20 times.
No, if they release it, even if they release it later, like wider, and we finish the whole season, I would, if it's super good, I would still go see it in the theater. Or if they put
Yeah.
together like a couple of the episodes and we get to watch 4, 5, and 6.
I don't know about this like generation. You know, I'm starting to sound old, but like
Generate.
people don't. People like younger people aren't as like interested in the theater and stuff, but the theater is an experience. Like, I I, I want to like. Oh, I was so upset that I couldn't see the Return of the King extended edition in theaters because it was literally full. I went to buy a ticket and it was full near me. But yeah, theaters are the way. Hopefully, the writer strike gets all figured out because imagine we just get Ahsoka and then we don't get any content for like a year plus. Honestly, at this point, it could be like a year before we get stuff after Ahsoka. I mean, the Acolyte maybe is mostly done per se, but it doesn't connect with the Mando verse. Like I want Mando verse content. Like that's what I want now from what we're getting.
We're gonna be foaming at the mouth, but it almost will
Yeah.
feel like, because it's very cinematic, and they're actually releasing it in the, you know, back in the days of old, where you got a movie and you waited 3 years until your next piece of Star Wars content. There were no TV shows. There was nothing. So we're going to be in a little bit of out like the days of old. But if it's on a high note, we're just gonna be foaming at the mouth even more, eating up everything.
For sure.
Every single nugget, every trailer, every spoil, every leak. We're going to be eating it up.
Yeah, that's another thing too. The people in the like I guess the kids. Why don't I keep? I need to mix up my vocabulary, but the kids the kids these days that have grown up on Star Wars, like they've had films and shows that are just coming out. Even me, like when I grew up kind of with the prequels, and then it's just there's 10-year gap of like, you know, my prime like fun kid years is I'm playing a lot of the games that are coming out, and that's like the main stuff. Maybe reading some of the books, rewatching the prequels. How many times I rewatched all of the movies, specifically Revenge of the Sith, so many times. And it was good. It was fun.
You survived.
Yeah, I survived, but I think that comes to the standpoint of quality though, and maybe with the lack of stuff going on, this might benefit us from a quality standpoint though. Of, you know, Dave has more time, and even the other show writers, because I am still curious about other stuff, but it gives them more time to perfect their craft. So then again, I don't know if they'd actually be working, but I feel like people like Dave Filoni aren't hurting as bad in the funds department. Like he'll probably keep, you know, working in the background unofficially. But yeah, no, this has been a good discussion. I think we're gonna wrap up here, but Yeah, it seems that we're almost split 50-50. Think it's actually Anakin, a slight edge to Vader or a dark side user. I'm in the dark side camp. I think Dan here in the dark side camp as well. I mean, we get Vader's theme. Like, what? They're gonna play that. Either way, we're gonna be in a wild ride. A very wild ride next week, and I'm just super excited to watch that, and for everyone else just to be able to experience this. Where we could be living in what could be known as peak Star Wars. So be ready Tuesday, and yeah, thanks all for watching. Thanks again, Dan, for hopping on. Make sure to go check out Stay on Target's their channel, link in the description for them, as you can find it. And thanks for hanging out. Appreciate those listening to the VOD, and hope y'all have a great day. Thanks everyone, and I'll see you next time.